I really want to start learning a language, but I don't have time. I feel tired after work. I don't feel motivated enough. I've been there too. I went from someone who has very little energy to someone who've built multiple careers and hobbies. In this video, I'm going to show you how I realistically make it all work. I have a full-time job, I teach part-time, I'm also a content creator. On top of that, I try my best to squeeze in time for language learning. So how do I do it? The first thing is planning. I've built a system for tracking my life both physically and digitally. I use a Hobonichi Weeks planner every day to stay on top of my tasks. I have a habit tracker, and one of the habits I track is language learning. At the beginning of each week, I also write down my weekly goals. They're the most important tasks I want to focus on. I just finished work. I have French classes every Monday and Wednesday. I need to log in right now. I'm already late. For French, I take group classes through a language program here in Canada. I make sure to write down all the assignments I need to complete before each class. I also mark the classes in my planner and on my phone so I don't forget about them. One of the biggest benefits of taking classes when you have a busy schedule is accountability. Because attendance is mandatory, it forces me to show up. There's also homework after each class, which reminds me to review vocabulary and continue studying between lessons. If you struggle with self-discipline, this is definitely something worth considering. I'm actually so tired right now. I also want to show you that I have a Notion page. For digital planning, I use Notion. I have a dashboard for all aspects of my life. For class planning, work, and content creation, I use Notion to store links, files, and schedules in one place. Earlier this year, I had 2 months of class slides and children's books prepared for my weekly lessons. This database helps me keep track of what I'll teach each week and make sure I have enough exercise and activities to keep my students engaged. So we're reading a book called A Day at the Fire Station. So I kind of just highlight the words that she may not know and then write definition on the side. I also ask her questions so that she can answer when reading it. Now let's talk about motivation. One of the biggest findings in psychology is that long-term motivation becomes stronger when something becomes part of your identity. I realized that motivation became much easier when language learning stopped being a goal and became part of who I am. A lot of what I do is related to teaching and learning languages. Over the years, through books, media, and conversations in different languages, I became someone who naturally makes time for learning. But it wasn't always like that. When I first started studying abroad and learning English, I wasn't a fan. It felt tedious working through one textbook after another. A lot of people think passion comes first, but for me, passion comes after repetition. The more I studied, the more progress I saw, and more progress I saw, the more excited I became. Another thing that helped me manage multiple jobs and language learning was building a routine. For example, I take French classes every Monday and Wednesday, so Tuesday naturally becomes my homework and review day. I also teach every Thursday, which means I prepare my slides and lesson materials on Tuesday and Wednesday instead of leaving everything until the last minute. Today is May 14th. We drove to Cleveland on Monday and then stayed there till Thursday. There was just a lot of work that needs to be... Okay. So let's start with the game, Molly's Winter Kitchen. Kitchen 是什么意思呀? I just came back from the gym. I was planning on just getting ready for bed, and then I received a message from this company I was working with. I've already made a draft and sent it to them, and they asked me to edit. So now I'm just going to post it and hopefully they approve it. For content creation, I don't follow a strict upload schedule, but I usually post on weekends. Because of that, I try to finish editing by Friday so my weekends feel less stressful and more creative. I've found that routines save a lot of mental energy. Instead of constantly deciding what to work on, certain tasks already have a place in my week. That structure makes it much easier to stay consistent even when I'm tired. Additionally, I group tasks based on my energy level. Sometimes 5 minutes is all you need. After work, I usually don't have the energy to sit down and study grammar. Instead of quitting completely, I switch to lighter forms of learning, like listening to a podcast or watching a TV show. When I genuinely enjoy the content, 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes, then I lose track of time. Another reason I care so much about language learning is because I genuinely think it's healthy for the brain. After people start working full-time, many slowly stop learning. Life becomes work, responsibilities, and routines. Over time, that can make life feel repetitive. For me, language learning keeps my brain active. It challenges me to think differently, stay curious, and continue growing outside of my career. I also think it's important to experience being a beginner as an adult. Reminds me that growth takes patience and that my brain is still capable of learning new things. Finally, let's talk about prioritization. It may seem like I have everything figured out, but the truth is that I'm tired all the time because I try to do a lot. I want to build a successful career, I want multiple streams of income, I want time for hobbies, and I want to spend time with friends. That's why prioritization is so important. One of my biggest rules is that I don't have work, email, or Teams notifications on my phone. When the clock hits 5 p.m., I'm off to complete my side quests. And when a week gets especially busy, I sometimes say no to dinner invitations so I can leave some time for myself. The purpose of this video is not to make you feel like you're not doing enough. There were so many times when I felt frustrated with myself and felt like I was living on autopilot. I hope that sharing what I've learned over the years help you reach your goals a little faster. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.